Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Jim Norton will be at the Stress Factory in Bridgeport, Connecticut tonight and tomorrow. I know Jim, and he's a good guy. He said, I've always kind of been this way, so I don't think anybody walks into one of my shows and expects not to hear anything they might find offensive, upsetting, or annoying. Imagine you went to a Jim Norton show and complained like, hey, this guy was really dirty and said crazy things. He talked about his Netflix special from 2017, Mouthful of Shame. There's an introduction scene with Robert DeNiro in that one. He said it was both fun and nerve-wracking to shoot. Having had a small role in The Irishman, Jim Norton contacted De Niro to see if he'd be up for recording a video intro, and to Norton's surprise, De Niro was. Norton said, the spanking part of it, I did not put in the script. I was afraid he'd look at that and say, yuck. So the day I showed up and I said, look, you probably don't want to touch my bare butt. And he's like, I don't care. So when it came time, I just dropped my pants, got it over with, and he was awesome with it. Here's one of those stories I blatantly do for the SEO to get a couple more people to sample my podcast. Hi, wrestling fans. The headline, Will WWE's Madcap Moss try stand-up? This is from Ringside News. Apparently, Madcap Moss was talking to WWE Español's El Brunch. I like that, El Brunch. He said he has a passion for comedy. Moss said, it's hard to explain or reason out, but it's something I've always loved. I've always had the personality where I want to make people laugh, even when it might be inappropriate. Even if it's a serious conversation, I try to slip in a joke or two. For me, the goofier the better. Might not be a full-on joke. I might be sitting at the breakfast table, but suddenly let out a Brock Lesnar scream. That gets a laugh out of everyone. I find it hilarious. To me, I think it'd be very easy to go on stage and completely bomb and have dead silence as you're trying to tell your jokes. I like watching Jerry Seinfeld's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee. They talk about even the best comedians have nights where they bomb. That's a tough deal. As a WWE superstar, I can relate. Not every match is your best match. You have down nights. It's something that someday I might do, something I've thought about and I've talked to people about. As of now, there are no plans. I'm focused on in-ring, but possibly in the future for sure. Try.com caught up with Vic DiBitetto. They said on social media you post these short videos of ticked-off rants, outdoor dining in inclement weather, and absurdities around the house, among other things. Do these ideas just come to your head, or do you flesh out ideas with other people? Vic said, some of them I'll get up in the morning, look out the window, I'll see the weather. That's what gives me the ideas. Others I've been thinking about for weeks, and they're festering in my mind until I think it's right and I just do it. There's really no formula. Out of all the videos I've done, I think the bread and milk one is still one of the best to go viral. It's crazy with social media. It's like playing the roulette wheel in Vegas. Apparently, Vic's kids have moved to Scotland. Try.com was like, wow, being an Italian guy from Brooklyn, what was the experience for you going to Scotland? Vic said, it's definitely a culture shock. Believe it or not, I did find good Italian food. The only food I didn't care for was the Scottish food, but they love the New York accent. Even if you're from America, it's nice to go somewhere where people don't sound like you. It's a different experience. It really is. But two words that don't belong together, blood and pudding. It's a big day for comedy albums. I've got 3 to tell you about. Greg Proops. You know Greg from Whose Line Is It Anyway? His album is called The City. He recorded The City in San Francisco at the Punchline. He talks about human behavior and misbehavior, travel tales, experiences with mild anesthesia, and he leads the audience to a New Year's Eve countdown to wrap his set. Guess when it was filmed? That's right, Thanksgiving. No, New Year's Eve. Orlando Baxter has a new special. This is called Live from South High. Orlando returned to his alma mater, South High, performed in front of a live audience, which included his former teachers and colleagues. Much of the content are hilarious takes from his experiences as a teacher at the school. It's free. It's on YouTube. Watch it. Orlando Baxter TV is his YouTube channel. You're looking for Orlando Baxter Live from South High. I'll put it in the notes. And Julia Scotti has a new album out today as well. Julia featured in the film Julia Scotti Funny That Way. Her comedy album is called Primal Cuts. She's turning age 70. For decades, New Jersey performer Julia Scotti was known as Rick Scotti, a successful comedian who was hitting a stride in the comedy boom in the 80s. His true awakening at age 47 led to a new identity as Julia Scotti. Everyone turned away. Former wives, friends, family, comedy world buddies, and most painfully her children. Julia reinvented herself, spent a decade teaching, and then several years ago got back to comedy at age 63. She took the stage at America's Got Talent to show that age has nothing to do with anything. She killed, made history as the first trans comedian to appear on AGT. Julia Scotti's Funny That Way, out today. If you'd like to support the show, you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Now, you hear this one here. By the time you're hearing this iced coffee is a week old because for scheduling reasons, I recorded today last Friday. Now, I probably finished it by now. The ice is definitely melted, and if it's still sitting on my desk, probably went a little crappy. So I need a new iced coffee. So why don't you go to buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. And this is from a week ago. I told you, this is the butter pecan, which, in my opinion, you don't want to have too much butter pecan. It'll create kidney stones. You don't want kidney stones. Stick with the caramel. Telling you, I'm an expert on this. But I go to the National Donuts chain. I get a large iced coffee with some sort of flavoring and almond milk because regular milk was giving me breathing problems. I'm training for the marathon. I got to be able to breathe. Otherwise, I get cramps. Too much information. Buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. Speaking of food... Was I speaking of food? Grub Street caught up with Joel Kim Booster. Grub Street does this thing where they'll talk to comedians and have them track what they eat for a week. Now, I don't really care what Joel Kim Booster ate for an entire week, but I read the article, and there are a couple fun things in here that just, I don't know, made me smile. Joel Kim Booster said, "After the gym, I grab a protein shake. No banana and extra protein. I've hated bananas ever since I could remember, and only began eating them when they were mixed in this particular protein shake. Came to find out after drinking one of these shakes several times a week, I'm allergic to bananas." Sorry, Joel, I don't mean to laugh at your allergy, but that was a funny sentence. You're a comedian, right? I usually sub the banana for blueberries, but today the girl making the shake didn't ask me if I want to do that. Maybe it's the Midwestern in me, but I never have the strength to ask if they don't offer. I'm a big smoothie fan myself. I like bananas in mine. I like bananas, strawberries, vanilla yogurt, and peanut butter and ice. You don't care. Joel Kim Booster's next meal. Doing my best to avoid writing the project I'm currently working on, I turn to an old standby, a snack, in this case, a tiny can of Diet Coke and some cheese wrapped in pepperoni. They came pre-wrapped because I know in my heart of hearts that even the simple act of wrapping a piece of cheese in pepperoni would be too much for me. Next meal, backstage at a 420 themed show, they had my favorite pizza, Domino's Meat Lovers. Whatever they put in the crust is bad. I'm positive about that, but there's something about the consistency of the crust and the sauce. Joel, you live in New York City. What are you doing? I really do attribute much of my palate going back to growing up poor in the Midwest. My family did the best they could, but we weren't eating amazing food. I really learned young that food doesn't have to be expensive or complex for it to be good. I'm not ashamed of the way that I eat or how I eat. It's what I like. Joel, you're in New York City. Pizza. You don't, just, there's pizza, man. You're not trying. Let's see who's at Netflix tonight. Today is Friday, May 6th. 6 o'clock, Patton Oswalt vinyl signing. 9 o'clock, free event, The Drop-In, hosted by Mark Normand. The 7 o'clock shows are Gabe Iglesias at Dodger Stadium. Yeah, Amy Schumer, Eliza Schlesinger, Margaret Cho, Taylor Tomlinson, Jimmy O. Yang, Marsha Warfield, Letterman, Mo Gilligan. Wow, all stars of comedy. Dusty Slay. Whew. Tough picking there. Cameron Esposito. 8 o'clock, Kevin Hart. The 9 o'clock shows. The Norman Show I told you about. Amy again. Dion Cole. Letterman again. Cristela Alonso. Mateo Lane. Whew, so many good choices. All right, I like playing the If I Were at the Festival game. I guess I'd swing by the Patton Oswalt vinyl signing because I host a podcast. I could get some audio out of that. All right, we got to strategize here. Let's assume we can get into the Letterman show at 9:45. I mean, I am not missing David Letterman if I'm at this thing. Now, 7 o'clock. Here are our choices again. Gabe, Amy, Eliza, Margaret Cho, Taylor, Jimmy O. Yang, Letterman, Mo Gilligan. That's tempting too. Dusty Slay. I've been really into Dusty Slay lately. I've been really into Jimmy O. Yang lately. But I also like Mo Gilligan. How often is Mo Gilligan around? So this is, my theory of comedy festivals is, I probably can see Dusty Slay more easily than Mo Gilligan. I can probably see Jimmy O. Yang more easily than Mo Gilligan. So let's do Mo Gilligan at 7, but there's no way we're missing Letterman at 9:45. Those are my picks for tonight. The LA Times spotlighted Mo Gilligan's show. And guess what they asked him about? I haven't even read this yet. Let me guess. The slap and cancel culture. That's right. First question, the slap. Mo Gilligan said, "To me, it just felt like two massive celebrities colliding. Smith and Rock know each other, so someone can afford to make a joke at someone else's expense and someone can afford to slap someone. I'm not in that position just yet." Mo Gilligan, you gained fame mainly through something you posted on the internet. Is that the preferred path comedians take these days? Mo said, yeah, 100%, man. It works. Helped me, and that's where I gained my audience from. Social media is probably more powerful than ever now. You can get your own pocket of fans that will rock with you. Observational humor is your thing. What's the key? I have to make it relatable. There's no bigger disconnect than a comedian talking about things you know your audience is not going through, like, oh, don't you hate it when you go to business class and you're trying to put your luggage up and they're offering you champagne? That's not a problem most people face. Differences between UK and US audiences. Okay, this is good. This isn't cancel culture questions. I like these questions. Good job, LA Times. Mo Gilligan said, the two things I find is, one, I can speak very quickly to some audiences. They're like, no, you need to slow down a little bit. We're very relatable, but some of the words we use are totally different. For example, one of my specials, I have this material where I say, the one thing you have to do, guys, in a relationship is take the bins out. You guys would say, take the trash out. That's a cultural difference because it's my punchline. Some of those little nuances can get lost in translation. In terms of Black British comedy, it really isn't showcased around the world. The UK, we export Harry Potter and Downton Abbey and Bridgerton. So that's the world's perception of the UK. Having a black guy with the Queen's English on stage can sometimes throw people off. Mo Gilligan at the Regent, 7 o'clock. That would be my pick. David Letterman, 9:45 at the Fonda Theater. Letterman's going to do some interviews, but he's supposedly doing some stand-up. Ooh, that'd be awesome. On the bill, Rosebud Baker, Phil Wong, Sam Morrill. Second show is Brian Simpson, Robin Tran, and Naomi Ekperigin. Would love to be at that. And from the Daily Mail, comedian Nazeem Hussain is shocked to discover that he's the face of Vegemite. Remember Vegemite from the Men at Work song Down Under? Yeah. When I was in Australia, I actually saw a can of Vegemite and took a picture. A photo Nazeem shared on social media was uploaded to Vegemite's official Facebook page in May of 2019. The image showed the funny man holding a Vegemite in one hand and a glass of orange juice in the other. He's seen smiling at the camera while a plate of scrambled eggs, avocado, and toast sits in front of him. They caption the post, Vegemite with eggs? 100% normal, Nazeem Hussain. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The post spread with the hashtags Taste Like Australia and B Vitamins for Vitality. Nazeem said he'd never seen the Facebook post and was surprised by its existence. He said, someone is using my face for Vegemite. I need a lawyer and I need a good invoice template. This is ridiculous. He explained that he'd posted something on his Instagram about liking Vegemite with eggs, and they clearly have used that photo as an ad. That is awesome. And that's your comedy news for today. As for the weekend, I don't know. I told you I recorded this a week ago, so tomorrow is probably the stuff that would normally be a Friday episode, would be my guess a week ago, Time Machine. And Sunday's probably a normal episode as too. You know what? Follow the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Overcast, and then you come back tomorrow and we'll find out what future me wound up doing. See you tomorrow.